Before we get into the video, I want to just say a few things. Firstly, this is the first video of a series that I am going to be doing where I revisit old Call of Duties and their zombie modes. I could start off with World at War, but I decided to start off with Black Ops 3 since it's personally my favorite version, and also it might be because it's the only COD game that I have all the DLCs on. Secondly, these videos are going to be broken up into different parts. This is where I revisit old CODs, but also I want to break down its history, the maps, the gameplay, etc. And lastly, be sure to subscribe. I don't really want to say it right now since if you're new, you haven't had a good reason to subscribe or like it, unless, well, my intro has convinced you. But anyway, it's free to subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into it. So recently I've been getting a few videos recommended on YouTube by the title of, let's say, Black Ops 4 in 2020 or World War 2 in 2020. It seems like it's a popular thing to do in Call of Duty community, considering that there's a new game every single year, but I haven't seen Zombies version of this, so I've taken on the liberty to revisit zombies from other CODs. And what better game to start off with than Black Ops 3 Zombies in 2020? Black Ops 3 came out all the way back in 2015 on November 6th. I'll never forget the hype leading into this game, since the previous COD was Advanced Warfare with its exosuits, and you know how that turned out. Personally, I couldn't wait for Zombies. I love all of the previous versions, and I just couldn't wait to find out what was coming next. It also may have been because we got Advanced Warfare Zombies before, and it slightly felt bad, but that's a topic for another video. With the release of Black Ops 3 Zombies, the community was greeted with so much new content, a fresh, new and fun map, and a remaster of a fan favorite. I remember spending hours on end just playing Shadows of Evil. What we didn't know back then was that that was just the tip of the iceberg. So obviously, as I mentioned, we got two maps on release. Unfortunately, one of them you could only get when you paid $50 for the season pass, which is right now changed to the point where you can pay $10 to get the map instead of actually buying the season pass. But paying for the season pass and getting an exclusive map was pretty okay in my opinion. But without further ado, let us actually get to the maps. Just wanted to say that real quick before we got into them. Starting off with Shadows of Evil. This was and is literally to this day in 2020 my favorite map in Black Ops 3. I can spend hours on end trying to get to high rounds, trying to finally beat the Easter egg, and the list just goes on. We got the introduction of Widow's Wine perk, Apothecary Wonder Weapon, double pack-a-punching, a new and awesome shield, a goddamn sword, new bosses like Marguez. It kind of felt like an overload of tentacle-based things, but you know, it was kind of cool. The map in 2020 is very similar to its launch and has barely changed in any way. And in my opinion, that's great, because too much change is bad for a game. The other map we got on launch day was a remaster of the Reese, but now it was called The Giant. Honestly, there isn't much to say about it. It's a map you can just go vibe on. It's just the classic The Reese. You got the Wonder Weapon, I don't remember the name of, Jesus Christ. It's just, you know, an extra map they wanted to add on launch day with the season pass, so you know you wouldn't just get absolutely drenched of Shadows of Evil until the first DLC would arrive one day. Speaking of DLC 1, after a pretty long time waiting, of course, for the first DLC to come out, we got the Rising Rack. Now, oh boy, is this map amazing. We got dank bows, which are basically the reskin of staffs from Origins, which is really cool in my opinion, since of course back then we did not know of the future that was supposed to come of DLC 5. We got Panzer Boys back, Zero Gravity, the Ragnaroks in it, a really cool and detailed map, some pretty cool transport, which is really well abused if you do it right with the teleporter and these launching things, and a pretty lit Easter egg that I still have not yet completed. I've tried multiple times. But after the Rising Rack, we had some pretty huge expectations for the next map, since you know they came out with this beast of a rise up from the previous Shadows of Evil and the Giant, which were already amazing. Well, since you probably saw that cinematic intro that I made there, the map is Zetsubo No Shima. Now, I personally really enjoy this map to this day in 2020, but I know that it became a laughing stock for multiple reasons. It was bad according to multiple people. It has Shrek, it has spiders, it's dark and kind of boring, I guess, at times. But I kind of like it. I like the vibe of it. It's spooky and swampy and creepy, and the weapon's pretty cool with some tight indoor corners, which makes your training difficult. The whole map overall, in my opinion, is pretty good. There's not much more to say about it. Then came DLC 3, the Big Bad Gourd map. This map is, again, insane. It takes place in Russia, which is already really cool in my opinion, and it has dragons. Like, I really enjoy this map, mainly for its weapons actually. We got some pretty cool ones added in it, as previous maps, I guess Zetsubo no Shima had like 2 or 3 added weapons, but this one got a bunch. And we got the introduction of the main gun, Ray Gun Mark III. Now, this actually shredded things and it's pretty cool. Also, PPSH is in it, which I also love from every single Call of Duty. So, yeah, I guess the Easter egg's pretty cool. There's also this gauntlet thing that destroys things. In general, DLC 3, DLC 1, and obviously Shadows of Evil. came the grand finale, the ending to the zombies storyline, Revelations. This map is a cluster of absolutely every map that Triarch could think of and fit it into one. We got places like Nacht, Origins, Kino, the list just goes on, like Buried. Oh, just so many. There's a monster as well that you can go inside of, pack a bunch of weapons, and also these hats that give you powers but also I guess make you look cool. The ending to the storyline was kind of okay. After that obviously came some rumors that we were potentially going to have a DLC 5, and what did my sexy man Jason Blundell do? He of course announced that we will be not only getting an exclusive DLC 5 for zombies, but also the first time in COD history we will be getting our remasters of our fan favorites from previous Treyarch maps. I won't mention all of them, but we got maps like Verot, Kino, Moon, and goddamn Origins. This was absolutely insane, and it just makes Black Ops 3 so much better and fun to revisit every year. That is a highlight, and that's why I love coming back to it, and that's why I came back to it to this year. Okay, so since this video is pretty long already, and I don't want to make it even longer with the additional things that I have to say, I will break this segment up as fast as I can. Now, if you're wondering what this is, it's the story. So, without further ado, the main story is basically there's this shadow guy who's really a tentacle guy, who's the bad guy, who wants to take this summoning key, which in the first map, Shadows of Evil, you have, and you don't know what it is, but you do this Easter egg, and then out of nowhere, out of a portal, your boy Ricky Toffee shows up, steals it. Then it turns out that what the previous and the next DLCs, like the Giant and the Rising Drag, blah 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 blah, are you, the original boys, Ricky Toffee, Dempsey, Takeo, and Nikolai, going on an adventure in their own maps, basically kinda kill the old original versions from Black Ops 3 and World at War, get their souls into this summoning key, and then in DLC 5 they teleport to Maxis' house, happy days, but then Maxis decides to mess everything up by releasing the Shadow Man, which was in the summoning key, and he messes everything up, creating the mess of a map which is Revelations, but obviously it's pretty cool. And then you do the Easter egg, you stop the Shadow Man, blah 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 blah. There's also, I forgot to mention, in Gora Krovi, there's this guy called Dr. Monty, which says he is that duck, whatever that means. He's like God as well. It's it's a mess. He decides at the end that no matter what you do, he has to put the universe back together, which makes everything pointless because he sends you back somewhere, which I'm kind of still confused. That's the best way I can explain it to you. Story. So, now that I've somehow terribly rushed through the maps, story, and the launch history, let's talk about the game now, in 2020, since this is what the video was meant to be about. Let me start off by saying the cool thing about zombies is the fact that it never changes drastically. So, ever since launch day, the game is still the same. Now, if you compare this to games, of course, like Fortnite, yeah, I know, but you can't go back to Fortnite and play the same version of the game that you played back in 2017, because it went through constant updates and changes, which inevitably costs its loss in players. We did have changes in Black Ops 3 Zombies also, like the, well, not too recent obviously, but also recent addition of Newton's Cookbook, which is a way to earn gobblegums by trading in bad ones. I didn't mention this, but we got the additions of gobblegums in Black Ops 3, which is totally new since we've never seen this before, and this was an ability to have more perks or just better powers, kind of a thing to improve your gameplay in general. They were probably one of the best things they've added, We still have the daily challenges in 2020 to earn your XP or your liquid diviniums. Obviously, you still earn XP and have the possibility to get up Master Prestige level 1000, which is also a really cool detail. And obviously, as I mentioned, you can still get liquid diviniums. You can still pay COD points for liquid diviniums. Obviously, microtransactions, you know, Call of Duty. And can I just say that to this day, 5 years later after its release, the graphics look amazing. Not only in cutscenes, but gameplay wise. Unlike the 360 version, which is something we will not be talking about in detail in this video. Another really cool thing is that this game, still in 2020, back in January, still got an update. Now obviously it probably wasn't as big of an update, it just kind of fixed some things and bugs and issues, but that's insane. A 5-year-old game, the amount of time it's been out, constantly being updated. Obviously just some glitches and stuff, that's impressive, because as you don't know, or you may know, previous Call of Duties, they got slowly forgotten about, not updated, which made them basically a modded fest on multiplayer and even zombies. Now I know this will probably come one day to Black Ops 3, but to this day, you know, you can play your private matches in zombies, and that's one of the best things. But talking about playing with others, is that this game still in 2020 has so many players. Like on zombies, you can easily join a lobby. There's a massive percentage obviously playing Shadows of Evil since it's the free version, but a good bit still playing the DLCs. You know, I now have realized why people haven't made these zombie game modes in 2020, because the game doesn't change that much. So what's the point of making it? Now in my opinion, it's just nice to not only get a video of the history and its maps detailed, but also just a breakdown of what's new in it. And honestly, there's not really much. And if you've been contemplating on revisiting Black Ops 3 or just playing it, or not even thinking about it, and this video somehow ended up in your recommended, then go check it out. It's still the same game. It's still amazing. And to this day, 5 years later, still it has aged amazingly in my opinion. Anyway, that'll be all for the video. It's a pretty long one. If you've stuck around this long, thank you. And maybe now there's a reason why you should subscribe. It's free. Thank you. Now it all depends on how much views, or just in general how well this video makes or does. Now what I mean by this is I'm planning to do other versions of these, like next video I'm hoping to do is Infinite Warfare Zombies in 2020. I'm kind of excited for that one. What sucks is I only have the first 2 maps, so I think it's Zombies in Spaceland and something in the Redwood. But be sure to smash that like button if you want to see it. Comment down below if you've seriously stuck around this long, to this very second, this very moment. Be sure to comment if you want to see more, if you liked it. If I made some mistakes, please do correct me, because I know I did. But anyway, if you excuse me, I will go play some Shadows of Evil, even though it's like 12:30 midnight basically. So I'm really tired, but gotta get this video out to you. Love you all. Peace out.